Okay, hello there, I'm Dennis. Welcome to my channel. Today's video, we're going to go through installing OpenBSD. We'll come back to the web page there. I have OpenBSD set up in my virtual box. I've given it 8 gigabytes of RAM, 2 cores of my processor. I did not enable the EFI. Video memory is turned all the way up, and we're going to use the stock graphics controller. I give it 65 gig hard drive. Let's get started here. All right, so I'm going to Control C to get into that mode, scaled mode, so we can see it a little better. And we should come up to this first prompt right here, and there it is. So right away we asked to install it. Slide that a little more so it's not quite. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit a capital I and hit enter. Choose the keyboard. It defaults to US, but I'm going to put in US anyway. Set a host name. Open BSD VM. Okay, that's our host name. Figure networks. The network it's picking up is EM0, and that's selected by default. So I'm gonna hit enter. It wants to know, do I want to use DHCP, and it is selected by default inside the square bracket. Hit enter. Now it should be picking up the internet. Do I want to do IPv6? I'm gonna say nope, although it defaulted to none. Which network interface do you wish to configure? I just did, so I'm done. Now I need a domain name, and it's going to select my period domain by default, and that's perfectly fine, especially in a VM. Now, if you're setting this up on hardware, this would be one option that you would probably want to make your own domain name. All right, password for the root account says it will not echo, meaning you won't see it, but neither will I. Start SSHD service by default, and the default is yes. Do I expect to run the Windows X Windows system? Defaults to yes, and that is correct. Do you want the X Windows system to be started by Xeno DM? And I'm going to say no. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, using that to start into your system, if that's what you want. In this case, I'm going to say no, and I'm going to use whatever desktop manager I select. So set up a user. If you do, enter a lowercase login name. So that's going to be my name, Dennis. Hit enter. Now it's asking me for my full name, and I'll just give it a capital D and hit enter. Now I need a password for the user. Repeat it. Allow root SSH login. Default is no, but I'm going to say yes, and you probably would too. What time zone you're in? It's selected US Central for me, and that is correct. For a list, you can do the question mark, but I'm going to hit enter. If you do the question mark, you'll see a whole list of options, and you'll be asked of country, and then after you select the country, then the time zone. So we're good there. The available disk that it's going to use is WD0, and that's selected by default. I'm going to say OK. Now we are going to use the whole disk, and that's selected by default. Okay. Now, here, that's what it's wanting to do for us if we don't manually partition. And you do have that option. You could edit this layout. But for me, it's allocated 5.5 gigabytes of swap, and that's really the only thing that I would bother to change. But because we are in a VM, I'm going to say OK. By default, it's selected auto layout. I'm going to hit enter. All right, now the location of the sets are on CD0. Get over here and see where we're at. Hold this, the sets. We're going to select the CDO. Path name is default. Let me go to the web page real quick, or go to the internet. And I've got two options here for the installation guide. This one, the second one, is not quite it's not granular as the first one. So if you really want to know a bunch of details about it, I'll include this link in the description. Let's scroll down and see if we can find the groups here real quick. Here they are. And it also, not only here, but here it says that, find it real quick. about the sets, flash drives. Here they are. It says the complete OpenBSD installation is broken up into a number of file sets. New users are recommended to install all of them. Go back to the system here. And the location of the sets is on CD0, which is what it's calling my ISO. All right, path name is 16.9 AMD64. That is correct. Now you can see right here, they're all selected. Select sets by entering a set name, a file name, pattern, or all. Deselect by doing the sets by preparing the hyphen or the game or what have you. So I'm gonna type in all and hit enter, and I'm done. Now, the directory does not contain a SHA-256 signature for checking my ISO, and I'm gonna say continue anyway. And the installation is now on the way. There will be some more questions before we get out of here, though. So we just went through this layout, the sets, set name, continued anyway. Right, path name to exist, we did that. The next one prompt will be the time appears wrong, but in my case it's right, always has been. So if it's right for you, select yes. Go back over here. This is going to take a minute. So this is OpenBSD, and this is their website, www.openbsd.org. And there's a lot of information on here. You can get your download here, find the manual pages, man pages. I found this really nice right here. It says songs and artwork. When you click on artwork, you can see it says every 6 months around May the 1st. So this just recently came out. And November 1st, OpenBSD makes an official software release. To accompany this free software release on the internet, we make artwork and music. This artwork emblazons CDs and posters up until version 6.0, after which we stop producing product and only release software on the internet. Past releases are on t-shirts as well, so you can get your t-shirt if you find a pattern you really like. But if you you can click on it and save the image and probably use it for a desktop wallpaper. So pretty interesting. And like I said, I found this installation guide on the openbsd.org, and it's public and it's OpenBSD install. Really, really granular. It goes through every single step. What I did here basically was I omitted all the inside writing. Okay, so come back to the install, and then it's saying location of sets, and I'm going to select done. Time appears wrong, Sunday, May the 30th, and that is the right time, so I'm going to say yes. Relinking to create a unique kernel, so it's changing the kernel or adapting the kernel to fit to whatever system requirements that it thinks that we need. At this point, I'm gonna hit enter to reboot, but I'm gonna stay on the standby. I tried to go into a shell and just power off from there, but it wiped out my entire installation. But when you hit close there, you'll see the process here stop. So I'm going to power off the machine, open up the virtual machine, and I'm going to remove the ISO. Now we're ready to start this again. And this time we should boot into a login prompt. Our installation of OpenBSD, the base installation, is complete. And once we get on here, I'm going to go ahead and apply any system patches or check to see if there's any system patches. And more than likely that will, when it finishes that, it'll prompt you to restart. You have to do it, restart. If it prompts you to restart. Again, you might ask me how I know that. All right, so I'm going to sign in with my username at first, give it my password, and that works. And I'm going to sign in as root, give it my password, clear the screen. First thing I'm going to do is run syspatch. Now, if there's any patches available, and I'm sure there are, it's going to download them, install them, and more than likely we'll have to reboot. And what that does is resets the kernel. Right now it's relinking to create this done. Reboot to load the new kernel. So we're going to reboot. So like I said, the base install is complete. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back into the VirtualBox and I'm going to clone this base installation. And then we're going to install a couple desktops. Working desktops. Log in. Again, I'm going to log in as my user. Give it my password. And I'm going to sign in as root again. And I'm going to rerun syspatch just to see. Okay, there's nothing there. PKG underscore add space space hyphen lowercase u. That will update the system as far as all your software. Now we hadn't installed anything, so I'm going to go ahead and hit this and hopefully we'll see it went through them that quick and there's no update. But if I had a bunch of software installed, it would go through each one of those pieces of software and update them all together. Or you can go PKG underscore add hyphen u and then a space and then list the program and it'll check for updates just for that update. Bunch of things we can do right now though. If you wanted to search for, I'm going to save that for the desktop. What I'm going to do now though is just power off, because the base installation of OpenBSD, shut down immediately, I say. Okay, so I'm going to clone this. Keep the disk name and the UUIDs. Full clone. Click clone. Alright, so now I'm going to rename these. First one will be xfce-4. Okay. This one, the one I just cloned, will be for GNOME. So now that I've cloned these, what I'm going to do is start another video, but I will take this, the base install, and combine it with the two desktops, xfce and GNOME. You'll see the entire setup basically from the very beginning, the installation of OpenBSD. Okay, so we're getting ready to install an xfce desktop over the top of the base installation of OpenBSD. The first prompt is the login, so I'm going to log in with my name, make sure that it works still, and there it is. And the first thing I'm going to do is just sign in as become super user. Alright, now I'm going to Control L, clear the screen. Right here, I just run the system patch and we checked for updates. There was none. So let's get ready. We're going to install xfce. So we're going to do that first by PKG underscore add. And then we're going to say xfce, no numbers, no model or version numbers. And then we're going to get a really nice one here, xfce-extras, which is the equivalent of xfce-goodies. We'll get nano. It's just easier to use for me. Might as well get a web browser, Firefox. And I'm going to get a little game just to have it install something in another category. So we got PKG underscore add, xfce, xfce-extras, nano, Firefox, and barrage. Now, I want to point this out. If you were on a laptop, you would also want to include xfce-4-power manager. And another system is upower. Now, these are both concerning your laptop battery. So if you're on a laptop and you're installing this, it'll do you good to go ahead and install these programs. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. Now, one thing you will notice, the difference between this system and any other Linux system is normally when you do a package install, it'll collect all of those dependencies, put them together, and then it will give you the option to either say Y or yes and install it, or change your mind and hit no and don't install it. Here, once you hit install or PKG add and hit enter, it's gone. There's no questions. So be sure of what you want. That actually, I kind of like that feature a little bit. You know, if you like that feature in Ubuntu, I guess you could just go -y for yes, or you in Arch Linux you could go -- no confirm, and it wouldn't ask you. It would just collect the package and install it. So this is going to take a little while. Let's go back over to their webpage real quick. This is openbsd.org, and there's a good bit of information on here. Nice webpage, simple, elegant, and informative. And we're back on. I will put this install link in the notes so you'll be able to follow along with what I did and be able to read extensively what you're doing in each case here. Installing the OpenBSD system, which this has nothing to do with the desktop. This is just a base install. But it's like I say, it's very granular, and you'll get a really good read out of this. And I'll actually will give you a better idea of what to do. This says that after you install the program, leaves root an initial mail message, they recommend you to read it. So if you don't get it in the prompt, you can type in more space 1 and it'll get the first message. I'm assuming 2 would be the second message, etc. At any time, you could hit Q to get out of that messages. Some of the files in the OpenBSD distribution might need to be tailored for your site. We recommend you run man after boot, and that'll give you a whole list of stuff that you can do after you've installed the base installation. A bunch of files needed to be reviewed. You can actually just do an unattended installation. What brought me to this particular, I was wondering how you manually install it, and I was hoping that this would tell me, but it didn't. But I got a very good installation guide, and it's part of the OpenBSD system, so nice, very nice. This is much more granular. Like I say, the second one, I mean, it does tell you a few things, but basically it says follow the instructions. OpenBSD's first release was in 1996. Let's go to their Wikipedia page, see what it says. OpenBSD is a security-focused, free, and open-source Unix-like operating system based on the Berkeley Software Distribution, or BSD, Theo Rayot. Not sure how to pronounce that. I know Theo, pronounce that. Created OpenBSD in 1995 by forking NetBSD. According to the website, the OpenBSD project emphasizes portability, standardization, correctness, proactive security, and an integrated cryptography. Now, I do know, I heard it from a close friend, a fellow YouTuber, a viewer, says this is very secure as far as operating system. And so if that's the kind of thing you're interested in, I would definitely look at OpenBSD. And I kind of like their artwork. Go back to that. OpenBSD 6. Got some really interesting choices here. Nice. All right, so that's enough of play. Let me see what we're doing on installation. Like I said, it's going to be a little while, so I'm going to pause the video. I'll be back when there's something else to do. Okay, so we're back. That didn't take too long. And you can see we got all of those sets. We got all the sets right there. Okay, so I'm going to clear the screen. And now we have to use Nano. We're going to go to home / my username, or your username, /.xsession. Hit enter. And in here, we're going to put exec space start xfce4. Control O to write it out, and to confirm, Control X, get out of there, Control L will clear the screen. Alright, so now we need the nano or .xsession and make sure that that's in there, and it is. Since I didn't add anything, I can Control X to get out of there. Okay, Control L to clear the screen. Now we got to add ourselves to groups. Let's just see if we are in the wheel group. And we are already in the wheel group, so great. So let's go user mod space -G for the group. We're going to add ourselves to the operator group. Hit enter. Oops. User mod. Oh, Dennis. And then your username. Alright, I'm going to add myself now to another group. This one here is frivolous, but if you're a gamer, might need that. And the last one will be staff. Okay, hit enter. Now if we go groups, Dennis, for your username, you'll see now I'm a part of a Dennis group, wheel group, operator, games, and staff. Okay, so let's start some services. We're going to do that with the rcctl control command. We're going to enable, just in case it didn't get enabled, xeno dm. Hit enter. Up arrow that back. We're going to say enable multicast. Make sure that's spelled right. Hit enter. Up arrow, bring that back. This time we're going to enable the Avahi _ daemon. Okay. And as soon as we reboot here, I'll go over a little bit about what those are. The multicast and the Avahi. Now we do not have sudo. So what I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to just reboot. And this actually should start us through the xeno dm. Should be able to log into our brand new xfce-4 desktop. And I should probably go ahead and get out of the scaled mode. And I'm going to stay there until it's time we get to our login manager. For desktop manager, starting the daemons, the NTP, the sort of time. Okay, this is xeno dm. We'll log in, see if it'll let me log in now with my group or my username. I'm sorry. We'll tab to the password and I'm going to hit enter. Alright, so control F1 will drop me back into a terminal. Now I'm going to say nano xsession. Make sure that's still in there. See, it disappeared. I don't know what happens, but sometimes when you reboot it, it's like I didn't save it. So we're going to do that again. Start xfce-4. That is correct. I'm going to Control O, enter, Control X, and let's see. Nano. Oh yeah, nano home. Dennis. xsession. Make sure it carried over. It did. Control X to get me out of there. Now let's reboot. See what happens this time. So it doesn't do that all the time, and I don't know if that's a VirtualBox thing. I don't know. I don't know what causes it. I do know that this time that it'll work because it didn't delete those entries. And I would hope that was just a VirtualBox thing. Feel pretty confident saying it is. Okay, so once again, try logging in with my username. give it my password, hit enter, and guess what? Let me control C to get out of that scale mode there, put my mouse back in there. Let's go to settings, display. Let's change that display to 16 by 9 will work. Say apply, keep this configuration and close. And I want you to look at there. There's a nice xfce desktop. So now, I don't know if you know this or not, but to add any software, you can pkg_add and write out the name, and it will install it for you. There is a GUI package manager called pkg_mjer. Let me see. Here it is right here. Got it already brought up. The pkg_mgr is a package browser for OpenBSD. I will include this link in the description, and I would recommend that you come here because it is it's going to take you a minute to figure out how this stuff works, I believe. It did me, and I didn't even know this was there. My first adventure into this desktop manager, but it does a lot of stuff. And it apparently does more now than it did back when this article was written. And it gives you screenshots. So definitely. And I'm not going to read what it says down here, but if you want to, you can actually download it and install it that way. We go back to our installation. So there is a package manager for that. To look for, you want to just look for a package? Let's do this. We're going to select our default terminal, say OK. Down here, let's go, let's change into Sue, change into super user. Now, let's just say I only knew part of a word, part of what a software was called. I'll just say I'm going to look for GNOME system monitor. So let's go, I know it's GNOME, so I could hit or type in GNOME with a dash. I'm sorry, forgot the hyphen, capital Q, I believe. Yeah. All right. So I've got a query for GNOME hyphen, hit enter. Now it's going to go through, and everything it finds with GNOME hyphen, it's going to show it to me. Now if I was looking down through here and seeing what all was available, GNOME tweaks, not on xfce, GNOME system monitor. So let's install that. Let's go pkg add GNOME system monitor. Hit enter. And there, did I spell something wrong? Nope. There is no turning back. There is no confirmation of the install. Once you hit enter, it's there. So now we should be able to just go up here and find it. It should be under system monitor, and there it is. About system monitor 3.38. We're using less than a gigabyte of RAM, and we just installed a program. Let's see what else. To delete a program, it would be pkg_delete. And then I could type in whatever that was I wanted to delete. Let's Control L to clear that screen. Now, as root, this should be really the first thing you do. These are security patches. Because of that hash mark up there, I know I'm signed in as root. And you can see there was none because we did that before we actually installed the desktop. But let's see. Hyphen lowercase u, that should go through and look at all of you'll see it looking through all of the programs that were installed during the xfce. You'll see barrage, elegant, and everything that's installed, it's looking at and seeing if there's an updated version of it. And once you've been in your system a while, I could see where this could take quite a while. So whenever you do it, make sure you got a little time to allow it to run. Let's see. Did I? Yeah, games. I installed Barrage. Barrage. Uh-oh. Lost my system. No mouse. Huh. Even the terminal hung up. Huh. Well, that's certainly a VirtualBox glitch. No mouse. The Control Alt T, give me another terminal. I just lost complete control. Did. Hate to do this. Team, let's reset it. And you'd probably just have to do that over again. The may not even remember my resolution because we had to just quit. Like I was going to say, you might have to do the PKG update again. PKG underscore add hyphen lowercase u again. And it may not remember my resolution because of that. So, in there, nope. And now, sign in with my username, give it my password. And it did remember my resolution. So there it is. There's a working XFCE desktop for you. Let me just say, I mean, everything you would expect. Let's go to just the settings and just go to the settings manager real quick. Under appearance and see what comes in by default. We got two theming icons. We got a couple sets of those. Fonts. Got a whole bunch of those. And then under settings, okay, let's go back to all settings. The desktop. I don't believe we'll find any different wallpapers, but I like that one better than the others. So, whoops. And then under menus, this would be your right click menu. Under icons, you can reduce the size of them. Take them out off the desktop. Yep, there we go. That way, when you plug in a USB, it should mount it and show it on your desktop. All right, let's go back to all settings. That was the desktop, notification, workspaces. I mean, all the typical stuff. But there's, you got screensaver, not the X screensaver, but that's probably available. Let's go to the panel. And let's select panel 2. It's the one at the bottom down here. And I'm going to hit the minus button to remove it. Item. There we go. We'll add to the bottom, or you could type it in a whisker. There's that. So add us a whisker menu. Close that out. Let's run it up there to our application menu. Actually, let's go hit the application menu and say remove it. Confirm it. Highlight the whisker menu again and move it all the way up to there. Now, right click on the menu button. We'll show the category names. We're going to position the categories next to the button. See, nope. Yep. We're going to show it as a list. The panel button, we're going to say show applications and the title. We're going to call this OpenBSD underscore xfce-4. And there it is. Behavior commands. Good. Let me see. So we got the whisker menu. Panel, tweaks, mouse. Let's see if we got any extra mouse theming. Oh, we have one, but you could get more. Settings, xsession, and startup. So we got everything. We did get Firefox, didn't we? Fast forward in the install. Yeah, there it is. Open that up. Go to DuckDuckGo. And let's make that our home page. Over here, click on blank, custom, use current. Great. And there's some other changes in there. And there we go. We got us a Firefox as a web browser. Nice. And like I said, there is a graphical installer, and I would recommend that you look at the handbook on that first. Or do like I did, just open it up and experiment with it until you figure out what it's doing. And then I discovered the website. So we got a typical XFCE desktop now. It's ready and open for you to set it up any way you want it. There's our volume, pro media player, and a music player. For some reason I thought I saw something okay. Anyway, that's pretty good resource usage right there. 912. We're in a virtual box. Going to be a little higher in a virtual box. And console starts by auto starting. That's good. We've installed xfce. Hope you do it. I hope you enjoy OpenBSD. It's a animal all of its own, and it's pretty neat. Like I said, one of the viewers on YouTube mentions that this is a very secure system, OpenBSD. He uses OpenBSD because of its security. That's pretty nice. Once again, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on another video. Peace. Bye.